They include a book called Anti-Racist Baby by Ibram Kendi. And there are portions of this book that I find really quite remarkable. One portion of the book says babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There is no neutrality. Another portion of the book, they recommend to babies confess when being racist. Now, this is a book that is taught at Georgetown Day School to students in pre-K through second grade, so 4 through 7 years old. Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Senator, I do not believe that any child should be made to feel as though they are racist or though they are not valued or though they are less than, that they are victims, that they are oppressors. I don't believe in any of that. But what I will say is that when you asked me whether or not this was taught in schools, critical race theory, my understanding is that critical race theory as an academic theory is taught in law schools, and to the extent that you were asking the question, I understood you to be addressing public schools. Georgetown Day School, just like the religious school that Justice Barrett was on the board of, is a private school.
Okay, so you agree critical race theory is taught at Georgetown Day School?
I don't know, because the board is not, the board does not control the curriculum. The board does not focus on that. That's not what we do as board members, so I'm actually not sure. As a mother, these cases involving sex crimes against children are harrowing. What I think is important to understand is that trial judges who have to deal with these cases are presented with the evidence or descriptions, graphic descriptions. These are the cases that wake you up at night because you're seeing the worst of humanity. When there are victim statements that are presented, when people talk about how their lives have been destroyed as children, how the people who they trusted to take care of them were abusing them in this way, and then putting the pictures on the internet for everyone to see. I sometimes still have nightmares about the main witness, the woman I mentioned earlier, who cannot leave her house because of this kind of fear, the vulnerability, the isolation. These crimes are horrible. And so I take them very seriously, just as I did all of the crimes, but especially crimes against children.
You've been a judge almost 10 years, and you've written more than 570 opinions. I'd say your record as a judge is the best answer to the question what kind of justice you will be. How would you say, Your Honor, that your approach to judging on the district court relates to the way you are now judging on the circuit court, and what approach do you think you will bring with you if confirmed to the Supreme Court?
Thank you, Senator. My approach all the way through is one that I believe is required by my duties, by my oath as a judge. We rule without fear or favor. We are independent as judges in our responsibilities. We understand at the district court level, at the Court of Appeals level, and at the Supreme Court that judges are restrained, are constrained in the exercise of our power under our constitutional scheme. My methodology is designed to help me to make decisions within those confines at every level. It's no different now that I'm on the Court of Appeals than when I was on the district court with respect to my understanding of the constraints on my authority and my responsibility to be impartial in my rulings.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how faithful would you say you are in terms of religion? You know, I go to church probably 3 times a year, so that speaks poorly of me. Or do you attend church regularly?
Well, Senator, I am reluctant to talk about my faith in this way just because I want to be mindful of the need for the public to have confidence in my ability to separate out my personal views.
Well, how would you feel if a senator up here said, your faith, a dogma lives loudly within you, and that's of concern? How would you feel if somebody up here on our side said, you know, you attend church too much for me, or your faith is a little bit different to me, and they would suggest that it would affect your decision? Would you find that offensive?
Senator,
I would if I were you. I found it offensive when they said it about Judge Barrett. And so I guess the reason I'm bringing all this up is it gives me a chance to remind this committee in America there are 2 standards going on here. If you're an African-American conservative woman, you're fair game to have your life turned upside down, to be filibustered no matter how qualified you are. And if you express your faith as a conservative, all of a sudden you're an effing nut. And we're tired of it. And it's not going to happen to you. But it just appalls me that we can have such a system in America, that if a conservative woman wants to stand out and say, I love my family just as much as you love yours, and my faith means just as much to me as it does you, that all of a sudden there comes some kind of weirdo. A guy like Justice Alito, who's in the same type situation you're in, being in a group, doesn't agree with everything they do or what people may say at a meeting he didn't go to, all of a sudden they own it. You know, this stuff needs to stop.
But I'd really like you to tell us all, what are your thoughts on what it means for our country to have women serve in meaningful numbers on the federal bench, and in particular, what it would mean to have 4 women serving on the Supreme Court for the first time in history?
Thank you, Senator. I think it's extremely meaningful. One of the things that having diverse members of the court does is it provides for the opportunity for role models. Since I was nominated to this position, I have received so many notes and letters and photos from little girls around the country who tell me that they are so excited for this opportunity and that they have thought about the law in new ways because I am a woman, because I am a Black woman. All of those things people have said have been really meaningful to them. And we want, I think, as a country, for everyone to believe that they can do things like sit on the Supreme Court.